Welcome back to another episode of Law Ke Baat Kya, the show where we uncover the real journeys of law graduates who have carved inspiring and unconventional paths after their degree in LLB. Now, when we talk about a career in law, mostly law students के mind में या तो litigation आता है going to the court या फिर एक law firm को join करना. But I want to tell you that there's a whole other world that many law students don't even consider early on, and that is the world of in-house counsel. So let me first quickly explain the difference. A law firm is a company that offers legal services to many different clients. जैसे कि आप अपनी लीगल सर्विसेज ऑफर कर सकते हो किसी भी इंडिविजुअल को, एनी गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, एनी बिजनेस. सो इन अ लॉ फर्म यू आर वर्किंग विद अ टीम ऑफ लॉयर्स टू हेल्प द क्लाइंट्स solve legal problems. Whereas on the other hand, we have in-house counsel. In-house counsel जो है is also a lawyer, but he is working directly within a company. Let's say for example, जैसे खेतान एक company है, तो आप खेतान कंपनी के लिए काम कर रहे हो, नॉट आउटसाइड. सो यू आर द कंपनीज पर्सनल लॉयर, helping them draft contracts, manage legal risks, ensure compliance, and protect the company in all of its day-to-day business decision. So we have today somebody who has walked this less traveled path. We have somebody who has explored this path and is extremely impactful, and will tell you that how it is all about working as an in-house legal counsel. That is Mr. Syed Mohammad Zaid. Zaid has worked with organizations across health tech, FMCG, government contracts, and has been at the heart of legal strategy, compliance, trademarks, and high stake negotiations. So let's dive into his story and understand what really happens after law school, especially if corporate legal is your calling. So then this episode is for you. Welcome, Zaid.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, ma'am. It's really wonderful being here on a platform to educate young lawyers and law students about something that even I did not know till the third year of my law school. So I hope that I can aspire and inspire a new line of in-house counsels for the future. So I'm ready to begin. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Zaid, for taking out that time. It's lovely to have you. I'm sure that all the viewers are going to benefit from today's impactful journey of yours. So, starting with Zaid, can you just take us back to the beginning? When did the legal bug first bite? Was law always the plan, or it was a career by choice or by chance?
So law was not really something that I had thought about before, I think in 10th class. So I used to engage in a lot of debates and extempore competitions, intra-school as well as inter-school. So there I found that I'm really good at, articulating my arguments, debating on points, as well as, talking on a diverse set of areas. So I felt that, okay, lawyers, what we had seen in movies and Bollywood icons throughout was that lawyer is a profession where you get paid to argue. But I thought that, okay, that seems like a profession that I can really venture into. But that was really shattered when I entered into law school, where I found that all the bravado and all the arguments that we see in movies are merely only 20 minutes of a lawyer's entire day, and that argument is also dependent upon a lot of research, a lot of time finding out precedents to suit your argument, and a lot of, sleepless nights spent to get that 20-minute window to argue before a judge. And that too, if that judge is available, if your roster is followed properly, and if the opposite counsel does not want to seek an adjournment. So, law for me, the bug that really bit me was in class 11th and 12th, where I really decided to pursue law.
Wonderful. So that was a career by choice.
Yeah, yeah, it was by choice.
Great, great. So tell us a little bit about your law school days. What were your interests? How did you start building towards corporate law? Did you do any kind of internship that shaped your decision to become an in-house counsel rather than going to the litigation or for judicial services that many of the students aspire nowadays?
So law school for me was a lot of things. To begin with, I really did not know that. So I do not come from an NLU background, and I did not know that you really have some sort of an advantage if you come from an NLU background. And if you are a non-NLU student, you'll have to outperform yourself to really shine through. So, law school really did teach me a lot of basics about being a lawyer, and some things that I to this day use, which was, understanding how bare acts are supposed to be read, the importance of reading law as it is written, and also the understanding of how some landmark judgments across different legal facets have trickled down, how they have developed. But I still firmly believe that Indian law schools do not really give us an exposure to the practical skill sets that we require once we step into the legal domain. So what I really found was it is important to understand how judgments are to be perceived, how precedents have really formed throughout the decades. But we were never really taught about how to draft a contract or how to negotiate a business transaction with external counsels, or really understanding the importance of having exposure to different areas or domains of law rather than just litigation or IPR. To the broadest of extent, we were just told that okay, IPR is something that you can focus on, but we were never really taught about the different avenues that exist. So the thing that you asked about internships, the thing that I had promised myself from day one was that I'm not really going to get pigeonholed into just one domain of law, and that I'm going to take as much exposure as possible. So I started out by interning with an NGO where I was focusing on juvenile justice and POXO cases. Then after that, I had interned with a firm which was focused on company law and FEMA and FERA regulations. And after that, I went on to I had strived to get experience in cyber law. So there I started to look for internships, and I found an internship with a very renowned cyber law firm in Delhi. And after that, I went on to really get exposure in environment law through the Center for Science and Environment. So, if through your platform, I would really like to urge law students and young lawyers to get as much exposure as possible, because the skill sets that I learned during my internship days were really important in shaping me as to what I am today, rather than what I learned in classes in law school. So it's really important to, whenever you get a break, intern as much as possible, get as much exposure as you can, so that you are ready to face and to understand what you want out of your law career.
Great. So you took a lot of exposure by interning in different fields. I understand that, Zaid, by whatever you mentioned. So आपका जो interest है towards the corporate law, वो तब जागा जब आपने internship किया. Am I right? या
So
पहले से ही आपके mind में था कि I want to get into
so
corporate?
that's also a very funny story, because I really thought that I will not end up in litigation, because I did not really have the zeal to go from court to court, and argue matters. So I thought ki law firm ki job hai, that suits me best, don't have to go to courts. But I really aspired and was also wondering how, I could work with renowned brands such as Amazon or say Microsoft or say Nestle. And that's when after Googling a lot, I found that, okay, in-house counsels are a team of lawyers that work directly with these firms and directly in these industries. So that's when I really thought and it clicked me that, okay, I can aspire to be an in-house counsel. And that's where I really dive deeper and my interest really sparked for being an in-house counsel or a corporate lawyer.
वाओ दैट इज वेरी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। बहुत ही कम स्टूडेंट्स होंगे जो ऐसा सोचते होंगे कि हमें एक बहुत बड़े ब्रांड्स का जो है, जैसे आपने नाम लिया अमेजोन एंड माइक्रोसॉफ्ट,
Exactly.
उनका वकील कैसे बनना है। सो दैट इज वंडरफुल।
Exactly, exactly. And it is not really something that is taught in law school also, कि आपको
यस।
directions जो दिए जाते हैं वो दिए जाते हैं या तो आप litigation में जाइए. Other than that, you can try for judiciary. But now with the 3-year practice rule in place, that also will become challenging to students. Or you're told that, okay, law firms are your safest bet. But you're never really told about in-house counsels or legal teams in such big MNCs that really exist.
सो
Yeah,
बेसिकली
please.
इट वाज ड्यूरिंग द व्हाइल यू वर परस्यूइंग लॉ, आपने ऑलरेडी
Yes,
रिसर्च खुद से कर लिया, और आपने
yes.
और आपने अपना ये डिसीजन ले लिया था दैट यस आई वांट टू वर्क एज एन इन हाउस काउंसल। दैट्स वंडरफुल। सो आपने इंटर्नशिप कब स्टार्ट की? लाइक यू वर इन विच सेमेस्टर व्हेन यू फर्स्ट स्टार्टेड
Uh,
इंटर्न?
so my first internship was after my first year completed, and we had a long break of like 2 months. So that's when all my friends were interning. So I was told that we have to intern and we have to submit an internship report every year. And that's when I interned. But what I really want to urge law students is that please take all the breaks that you get in between your law school journey as opportunities to intern in as many places as you can. क्योंकि वो टाइम जब चला जाता है तब आपको रियलाइज होता है, एंड इवन मुझे आज भी रियलाइज होता है दैट आई स्पेंड अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम दैट आई कुड हैव gotten exposure to any other domain. Maybe data privacy तब उतना नहीं था, but I could have interned at a place which would have made me more knowledgeable on that domain that I am now. सो इट्स रियली इम्पोर्टेंट कि जब भी टाइम मिले आप लोग अपनी इंटर्नशिप्स के लिए जितना हो सके उतना प्रिपेयर करें 6 to 8 months बिफोर यू स्टार्ट अप्लाइंग टूवर्ड्स इंटर्नशिप्स, बिकॉज दीज प्लेसेस गेट applications throughout the year, and thousands of applications. So it's better to not get lost and have a focused path.
Wow. Generally what happens is that students, when they are in their first semester or first year, so they are in that laid back, कि हो जाएगा अभी चार
Yeah,
साल रहते
exactly,
हैं,
exactly,
because
exactly.
that's the attitude. Because even once I was also there, as a law student, but you utilized it so well, right? And
Yeah.
but how did you, get into all these different companies and different domains? आपने भी applications apply किया या फिर कुछ और effort आपने किया to get into these different domains?
So it's really important that quality of applications is more important than quantities. So आप अपना सेम सीवी अगर आप 1000 जगह भेजोगे तो वो इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है कि आपका सीवी सिलेक्ट हो. इट्स मोर इम्पोर्टेंट ऑन हाउ यू नेटवर्क or how you find people out through your own network, because as a lawyer most of your journey, if you're a litigation lawyer, is through networking. So it's best that you find people on LinkedIn, you DM people, you hit people up, you get as many applications as you can through internal legal teams, rather than just applying blindly on the job portals that are present there. And what is best is planning beforehand and not sending out your applications once your your year has ended, or you are now starting a break after the year has ended. So it's better to plan beforehand and reach out to as many people as you can.
Great. So आपने काफी मेहनत की है, and you have planned so well. that I'm sure ki right after your 5 year LLB, you would have directly got into, placed into a good company because आपने बहुत starting से ही जो है, you were planned. It is because
Exactly.
generally what happens is या तो बच्चे जिन्होंने judiciary करना है वो
Hmm.
थर्ड ईयर फोर्थ ईयर से प्लानिंग करते हैं, दे आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर जुडिशियल सर्विसेज, राइट?
Yeah.
या फिर एक लेड बैक एटीट्यूड होता है कि 5 साल हो जाएंगे उसके बाद कोर्ट में जाएंगे. But it is wonderful to see, Zaid, that you were so well prepared right from the beginning, and you were so clear. There was so clarity in your thoughts that yes, I want to get into this particular field, and you had already started preparing. So you have shared that getting a good command on the Bear Act, interpreting the Bear Act, understanding the law, drafting the contracts. These are few things which are not taught directly in the law school, because in the law
Yes.
school we focus more on the syllabus part, कि एग्जाम
Yes.
देना है
Exactly.
और हमें बस अपना दैट इज द एरिया दैट वी, एंड मस्ती मस्ती में टाइम निकल जाता है. और जो इंटर्नशिप्स भी होती है, तो वो भी हम क्या करते हैं, किसी ना किसी एक वकील को पकड़ लेते हैं और वहां पे जाके इंटर्नशिप
Exactly.
करते हैं,
Yes. 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 पापा
राइट?
के
दैट
जान
इज,
पहचान के, मम्मी के जान
हाँ,
पहचान के. That is
एग्जैक्टली,
how it
यस.
works. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So the message here, the broader message to all the aspirants there is that please start taking your breaks very seriously. And in case you want to get into that corporate world, start working soon, start planning soon, and interning at at different domains and different aspects of law. क्योंकि हर जगह हर एक फील्ड में लॉ जो है रिक्वायर्ड है. एंड स्टूडेंट्स जो एलएलबी कर भी चुके हैं, इवन उनको भी रिग्रेट करने की जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज वो भी अप्लाई कर सकते हैं. एंड
Exactly.
स्ट्रॉन्ग नेटवर्किंग इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट.
Very important.
ग्रेट.
Your
Right.
LinkedIn profile is very important these days because people do carry out background checks. So it is very important that you put out your best version on these social platforms that are available to you.
Yes. So yes, so all of you should have good profiles, good LinkedIn. आपका जो account है और networking है, that has to be very very strong. So thank you for that appraisal, Zaid. Okay, so coming next, I feel that even after reading your CV, that you've had a robust journey as a in-house counsel across different domains. So I would request you to please elaborate how a day in your life is as working as an in-house counsel in a particular company. How is it different from a law firm, or how is it different from working in a chamber, जहाँ पे हम एक रेगुलर कोर्ट्स में विजिट करते हैं और हम
Mhm.
एक चेम्बर में काम करते हैं. वो दिन एक एडवोकेट का जो है, हाउ इज इट डिफरेंट फ्रॉम वर्किंग एज एन इन हाउस काउंसिल?
So, as an in-house counsel, the one benefit that I get is that I am exposed to a lot of things in a single day. So at 11 a.m., I might be, reviewing an NDA from an external party. And then at 1 p.m., I might be in a meeting with the business team or with the IT team to discuss the privacy policy of their new app or new product. And by the end of the day, I'm drafting a contract for a service provider. So it's really a lot of things that you are juggling throughout the day. But it's also very fulfilling and very exciting because आपको नहीं पता कल क्या आएगा. And it's not like something कि जैसे आपका अगर litigation lawyer हो तो you have your cases next day is listed, so you will prepare for that. Or if you are in a law firm, so you know that okay, I have to end with this opinion first, then I have to move on to the next case law research. But in my domain, the benefit that I get is that I'm very close to different teams. So the business team, the sales team, the operations team, and everybody has their queries and they come to you and you have to resolve all their queries and everybody wants कि मेरी query पहले हो जाए. But it's really really fulfilling, and the kind of challenging work that you do, it really changes from day to day. So that's
Great.
how my day really is.
So you grow every day.
Yes, yes, you do.
Yes. Isn't it exhausting and draining at times because so many
uh
queries?
the most important thing is that and it's also a benefit as an in-house counsel that I know how my friends who are litigating lawyers or who are in firms, they spend entire nights, being up for work. They spend their weekends working. But the kind of quality or a positive thing about an in-house counsel is that you really have some control over your time. So, since you are working in an MNC, since you are working in a company that has a big structure, so timings are very strict. And also, since you are the one who is going to give the reply to the queries of your own internal departments, so it's not really something that, see, for instance, अगर मेरा कल केस लगा है, तो I cannot tell the judge that okay sir मैं तो अभी finish नहीं कर पाऊंगा, तो can we reschedule it. But in an in-house counsel, you really get the time to really stand up for yourself and say that, okay, it'll take me some more time. So it does get daunting at times. It does get frustrating at times. It is tiring, but I am sure that it's lesser in comparison to, the kind of work that you have to do in a law firm or in a litigation chamber, where you're constantly drained and you're really exhausted, but you cannot really stand up and say no. So that's something that is really good, that I feel should encourage people to, focus on trying being an in-house counsel.
Yeah, so there's more of work-life balance, I feel.
Yes, it is a very big positive that you get work-life balance and also other perks that come with it, which you may not get in, smaller law firms or chambers, because seniors always expect you to do everything at their one click of a finger. They want you to do certain things, but here you get a little more flexibility with how you really want to accord your time.
Right, right, right. Great. So before I go to the next question, Sayed, I also want to know, Zaid, that, um, how did you learn drafting? Because as you mentioned, कि college में तो नहीं कराते. How did you learn business negotiation? ये सारी चीजें आपने कहाँ से सीखी, कैसे सीखी?
uh, so there are two things. Firstly, I feel ki the phone that we have or the laptop that we have and the access to the internet, it is a world of boundless information that we do not really sometimes, realize कि कितना important है, that I have access to, YouTube or so many different blogs that I can read up on to really learn how to draft, to understand the structure of a contract, to really understand ki, okay, what is the difference between liquidated damages, or what is the difference between indemnity and liquidated damages, how important is a seat and a venue of arbitration. So all of these things I have really learned from, firstly, YouTube is a very big help. Free and accessible law journals and as blogs are also very important to brush up on your knowledge of contract law. And the second thing is, sometimes you learn from your mistakes, sometimes you learn from other people's mistakes. So once I did venture into my first job, there were a lot of hiccups that I had, first drafting contracts. But thankfully, I had very supportive seniors around me who really helped me and really made me understand. And it's really something that is a matter of practice. So after your third or your fourth contract that you've drafted, after your seventh contract, you really start getting a hang of things and you really start understanding from a deeper perspective. So, जब तक करोगे नहीं तब तक आएगा नहीं समझ में. So that
Right.
is something that is also very important. That is why I urge law students to really intern, because once you intern, that's how you get exposure to these things. Because your YouTube or your law journals will only take you so far. It's the practical knowledge that you do with the seniors' help that will take you that far.
Yeah, so I was saying that can you help us with some blogs, name some blogs or some YouTube channel that you have very frequently referred to.
I really cannot, from the top of my mind, remember, but live law is something that is important. There's also I pleaders that I do refer to at times. And
Okay.
on top of that, if you are actually interested on LinkedIn, you can really find a lot of contract law groups that I am a part of, or pages that I'm a part of, that really tell you and make you understand how the law is developing, how contracts are to be drafted, what are the important clauses in a contract, how can you really learn how to negotiate contracts with external counsels, and really understand the vast breadth that contract law really is and what it entails. So you really can learn a lot from LinkedIn itself. And on top of that, as I mentioned, IP leaders and live law is something that I really look to focus on. There's also
Great.
a very good book that I would like to recommend to law students, and it's a book called The Art of Legal Writing.
Mm-hmm. By uh,
I can't really. It's an Indian lawyer. I think her name is Richa, if I'm not wrong. It's a really good book that you would understand, and it really teaches you the importance of vocabulary in contract drafting and overall legal drafting as a whole.
Wow. So that's a lot of tremendous effort that Zaid you have put on your own. That is commendable, because हम कहते हैं ना कि internet जो है, it can be a blessing and it can also be a curse. So you have
Yes, exactly.
utilized it, and you haven't used those social media, Instagram, Facebook,
I
जो एक
do, I do, but
addiction होती. Yes, but yes,
yes,
everybody does. We all are social
everybody
beings.
does. But you
Yes.
really need to cap yourself, and you need to really understand that in your formative years, you need to really be a sponge. So you need to soak up as much knowledge as you can.
दैट्स ग्रेट. सो बेसिकली आपने यूट्यूब ब्लॉग से तो सीखा, बट ज्यादा आपने जो है इंटर्नशिप, प्रैक्टिकल नॉलेज, एक्सपीरियंस से जो है आपने
Yes,
ड्राफ्टिंग को मास्टर किया धीरे धीरे करके. ग्रेट.
yes.
Once you finished your LLB, like you were in your fifth year, and right after your fifth year, did you get employed or did you wait for some time? And
Um,
how was
so
that
it was COVID
transition?
time. It was
Yes,
COVID time, so there were not a lot of opportunities that were, given to us, because we cannot really go out at that time, and firms were not really hiring, and MNCs were also not really hiring. So I was pushing out my CV day in and day out. But I think I had to wait for like 4 to 5 months before I landed up my first interview. And thankfully, the first interview that I had given, I converted it into a successful job. And then I spent around 3 to 4 years in that same place. And now I've really moved on from there, and I've now joined a US based firm that is involved in health tech, sports, and a lot of other facets. So
okay,
that has been my journey.
that's great. So only 4 months in spite of COVID being there.
Yeah, that is also because of networking and also planning a lot. Because if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So that's something that is a mantra for me. So I urge law students again, please plan everything out, write it down, jot it down. No matter what facet of law you want to enter into, you really need to have a plan.
यस, हम कहते हैं ना, रोड मैप होना बहुत जरूरी है टू
Exactly,
रीच योर
exactly.
डेस्टिनेशन. Yes. And the remuneration part is also very, very, something luring to all the, law students there, because already 5 साल आप अपने लाइफ के LLB करने में निकाल देते हैं, और उसके
Yes.
बाद फिर वी थिंक ऑफ, अदरवाइज अगर आप किसी एक लॉयर के साथ, इफ यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग अंडर सम लॉयर, यू आर अंडरपेड. So that's a general
Uh,
notion.
so So I, this reminds me of a very funny instance. So we had a placement committee in college, and they would, from time to time, it was COVID time. So from time to time, they would give us some opportunities that they had from their own network. So there was this opportunity that came for an associate, wherein they wanted, the job description was a one-page long job description, and at the end it was written in small text that they'll be paying you 7,000 per month for the job. So I think there really needs to be a discourse about young lawyers and associates being underpaid by seniors, and seniors really expect people to work, and they actually nichoro you as much as possible, but then they pay you merely only travel expenses. So how is somebody who is coming from a tier 2 city and shifting to Delhi or Mumbai to get exposure into the vast areas of law, how are they supposed to really take care of their own expenses if they are paid so little? So that is also a thing where in-house counsels do have a slighter advantage, because they're paid much better than somebody who is a first generation litigating lawyer, and maybe even from some small law firms they're paid better. So
Yeah.
that's also a perk.
So your first salary was good enough. It can lure the students.
It was good enough, and it was actually much better than what the law firms, or so-called law firms, were offering then, and it was obviously much better than what some litigating lawyers were offering at that time. And you
Yes.
also you really get increments which are periodic in nature, rather than increments based on mood or based on performance of the law firm. So there are some structured things that you really enjoy. So that's
Mhm.
why I would like to urge law students that venture into this domain as well.
So I understand that the remuneration is good, work-life balance अच्छा है, कोई pressure नहीं है, and आप apply कर सकते हो right after your law school, right?
Pressure hai, but it's manageable pressure.
Manageable.
So
See,
yeah,
pressure तो
yeah,
हर एक when you're working, pressure हर एक field में होगा. You
yes,
just can't
exactly.
think that it's going to be a bed of roses, you know?
Exactly. Even if you're an entrepreneur, you're under a lot of pressure. So pressure won't leave you. It's just that it's
Yes.
more manageable to an extent.
Zaid, you have mentioned that the in-house counsel enjoys a good remuneration and a good salary. So, in addition to that, what else? What are the perks that a in-house counsel enjoys?
So, in addition to being remunerated and compensated well, there are different perks that you get, which is an advantage of working with a renowned organization or an MNC. This includes medical insurance for not just yourself but also your whole family. You also get a generous amount of leaves that you can utilize for whenever a certain situation arises, because I remember that in my last organization, I was not even able to utilize all my leaves in a year, even though I took so many day offs. And in addition to that, in my current organization, I get a free gym membership that I can avail whenever I want to. And I also get premium subscriptions to products that other people may not have access to. So these are some perks that are not really talked about. And the most recent thing that I would like to, that I have recently enjoyed is that your own organization pays for courses that you want to avail. So they want you to be the better version of yourself. So they will
Wow.
spend money on upskilling you, which is a perk that I think is not available in other areas or other avenues of law, even in a law firm. So these are some things that I feel are which would draw more young law students to venture into being an in-house counsel.
Wow, that's mind blowing. Because ठीक है हम लोग वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस की बात करते हैं, कोर्ट जाइए, कोर्ट से आके डू योर प्लीडिंग्स इन द मॉर्निंग एंड देन शाम में जो
Yes,
है आपका ऑफिस का काम, या फिर जुडिशरी में भी जो है आपको रात तक बैठना ही पड़ता है, right? But this is something so interesting that an in-house counsel is enjoying not only work-life balance but also health benefits, and which is not
exactly.
only belonging to that particular person who is,
Employee. Yeah.
yes, yes, employee, but apart from it the family is also enjoying the benefits, and a gym
Yes.
membership and all that, that is glamorous and very very interesting. So thank you for that appraisal. See, as I understand that you have handled privacy laws, trademarks, compliances, government tenders, तो ये सारी चीजें आपने हैंडल की है जायद. All in all, किस तरीके के skills एक स्टूडेंट में रिक्वायर्ड है to get into this route, to get into this field of in-house counsel? Is there a particular skill set that is required for an aspirant to be good for this particular job?
So the first thing that I urge, and that is not just for in-house counsels, that is for any lawyer in any domain, that is attention to detail must be as much as an eagle. So attention to detail should not just be limited to skill sets in your CV, but you really, really need to have attention to detail with regards to all aspects. And on top of that, something that I feel is really important is mastering the art of contracts. Because as an in-house counsel, if you're involved in an MNC, so contracts are the lifeline of businesses. Any transaction that goes through will go through a contract. So you really need to master contracts in that sense, and you also need to have somewhat of a creative, I wouldn't say creative, but out of the box thinking, wherein when you are given a business transaction to take care of, when you're given a contract to draft, or when you're given a business opinion that you need to give legally, you need to really understand how the contract or how the transaction will take place in real life. So suppose if you are drafting a contract for a service provider who will provide you with raw materials, you need to really think and understand what are the loopholes that the service provider can encash on. How do I derive the penalties in this contract? Do I want the service provider to really take goods insurance in case the goods get damaged during transit? What are the different deliverables that I want to ensure that I get the deliveries on time? How do I ensure quality checks are being made at my end? And do I have the right to reject the goods? So you really need to have a broader set of thinking wherein you're able to understand how things will really move in real life and not just how they're written on paper. Because that understanding would really help you save costs for the company once things go wrong.
Right, 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 right. So I understand that, having a good command on contract, drafting of contract and contract law is very important for this
Yes.
particular field. And for someone who wants to get into the contract law, Zaid, किसी ने सीखना है contract law, किसी को policy drafting सीखना है, privacy law or trademarks, what roadmap should he follow? Is there any certification? Is there any tool or is there any resource that that aspirant would find useful to master this area?
So everything that you want is freely available on the internet. I wouldn't really encourage people to go for courses that really make you spend a lot of money. But there are certain good NLUs that have certain diplomas that you can register for from time to time. That can be for contract drafting, that can be for trademarks, that can also be for, IPR related transactions. So you really need to plan and understand that, okay, what is the domain that I'm really focused on, or what are the different areas where I want to gain expertise in as an in-house counsel even. So you really need to structure your planning in a way that you're able to understand, because there are obviously going to be fees attached with every certification that you do. So you
Yes.
really need to understand whether that certain certification is going to give you more benefit than something that is easily accessible on YouTube or on the internet. So that is one thing. For contracts specifically, I would have so it's a bit pricey, but if you can get a certification from the NCMA, that is something that would really benefit you in the long run. The NCMA is a US based entity, and its full form is the National Contracts Management Association. So their certifications are really, really integral in, giving you expertise in contract drafting and management. But again, they're hefty in fees, and they have to be renewed after every 3 or 4 years. So you really need to first understand whether you do want to get that certification. But I still firmly feel that everything that you want is freely accessible on the internet. You just need to know where to look for it.
Great. So I feel Zayed that the students firstly अपना वो लोग एक बेस बनाए इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट का जो बेयर एक्ट है उसको मास्टर
Yes,
करें राइट अपने केस लॉज को देखें व्हाट द ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट इज सेइंग व्हाट आर द हाई कोर्ट सेइंग ऑन अ पर्टिकुलर situation and
yes.
also then the next step can be that they can start learning the drafting, the basic drafting from the freely accessible material on the
Platforms.
internet,
Yes.
right? And as you mentioned कि LinkedIn, तो ये आपके कुछ first baby steps हैं, and I'm sure ये baby steps जो हैं they will lead you to some or the other in-house counsel job, and with experience you will keep learning, and in between you can do these certification or these courses from NLU or as you mentioned from NCMA, so that आपके जो skill sets हैं वो एक ही जगह ऐसे स्टैग्नेंट ना हो और आप उस चीज को जो है और भी रिवाइव करते रहे और शार्पन योर स्किल्स. यस.
There's also a little point that I want to put forth. Uh, for contracts, there are a lot of contracts that are already available that have been signed by big organizations, that SEC contracts, or you can look at different clauses on contracts on lawinsider.com. So you really can, from a few different websites, really master the art of contracts. And on top of that, for a YouTube channel, you can, it's more US based, but you can really listen to the Legal Eagle, which is a US based lawyer. He sometimes does have videos on contract law disputes and how clauses are interpreted, but it's more US focused, but still not an issue to get information from wherever you're getting it.
Our academy is also Legal Eagles. It's a team of Legal Eagles. Yes,
That's
our
great.
logo is
That's
also
wonderful.
Eagles. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so great. So you've added that Legal Eagle is a US based lawyer and who really gives a good insight on the contracts, and also lawinsider.com.
Yes.
Great, great. So that is a lot of information. I'm sure that all the students must be benefiting. Any last message that you want to really give out to the aspirants looking for in-house counsel? Like, there are a lot of students who really want to get into corporates,
Hmm.
and but they don't exactly know कि क्या वो एक path है जो उनको चलना है. तो उनके लिए any strong message that you want to give out?
Uh, the one message that if I want to give them is going to be try and aim to be a generalist rather than being a specialist. Because as an in-house counsel, it is very important that you have some idea or a good amount of idea of different aspects of law. Because one day you might be researching on company law. The other day you might be assisting the HR in some labor related compliance. And the third day you might be drafting a confidentiality agreement. So there are a lot of different things that you will be juggling, which can really stem from any domain of law. So try and be a generalist in your law school years. Try and get exposure in as many domains of law as possible, because that would really be important in strengthening your foundations as an in-house counsel, and really ensuring that people expect that once a question is asked, say from trademarks, that an in-house counsel can give an answer right away. That if you want to have understanding of how your organization can spend their CSR funds, your mind should straight away go to Schedule 7 of the company's law. So these are some things that once and for all, again, internships are your bread and butter. Get as much exposure as you can from internships. Books are good in law, blogs are important, but internships are the real places where you learn and where you can really polish your CV. So at the end of 5 years of your law school or 3 years of your law school, you're there with a three-pager CV and thinking that how do I shorten it into 1 page or 2 pages. So get as much exposure as you can and in as many domains as possible.
That was incredibly insightful, Zaid. Thank you for that. You have shown us that there's a whole world in law beyond courts and judges, one
There are,
where legal minds become strategic business enablers.
yes,
So,
yes.
yes, so you have given a lot of insight to all our viewers. So, if corporate contracts or policy work excites you, let Zayed's journey inspire your roadmap. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us for more such journeys on Law Ke Baat Kya. Thank you, Zayed, for sparing that time. And, in spite of being so busy with your work, you still took out time for all our viewers. Thank you once again, Zayed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Everybody, please subscribe to her channel. She's
Thank
really
you.
doing God's work because people do not really uh, teach you these things in law schools. Your law professors will not, your seniors will not, but you really need to understand that there are other areas in law that you can really, really excel in. So, thank you so much for having me, ma'am. It was really wonderful.
Thank you so much. Wishing you all the very best. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank